There are houses in America where the lights stay on late into the night. Not because of parties, not because of crying children, but because inside those houses lives a man who is afraid to turn the lights off. Not afraid of ghosts, not afraid of burglars, but afraid that when the lights go out and everything becomes silent, he will hear his own voice. A very small voice asking, "What am I living for?" People still go to work. They still smile. They still play the role of success. But if you look closely, you will see that some people carry an invisible glass cabinet on their shoulders. Inside it are honor, achievements, ego, and the fear of being looked down on. Tonight, I will tell you the story of such a man who once won every battle in life with reason, control, and an ego that refused to bow, until he lost a battle with no gunfire. A loss that came from the simple truth that no one wants to stay beside someone who must always be right. And only when he finally put down that rightness did he understand. When the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. Letting go of the ego is letting go of the burden. His name is Leo Fan. 43 years old, living in the northern suburbs of Seattle. From the outside, Leo is a textbook American dream. A 2-story house, neatly trimmed lawn, an SUV, a stable job at a large logistics company. In his living room stands a long glass cabinet pressed against the wall. Inside are high school sports trophies, college certificates, management credentials, photos with executives, photos on stage receiving awards. Anyone who visits the house ends up looking at that cabinet at least once. And Leo loves that moment. He never says, "I'm good." He simply stands nearby, pours water, and waits for praise. But if you stay in the house a little longer, you will notice something strange. The house is clean, complete, beautiful, yet cold. Not cold because of Seattle's weather. Cold because inside that house, everyone speaks softly. Leo's wife is named Mia. His son is named Evan, 16 years old. Mia is the kind of woman who is gentle and strong at enduring. But the more she endures, the more she wears down. Evan, on the other hand, speaks little. His eyes always seem to be thinking something he cannot say out loud. Leo came to America at 12 years old. Back then, he was small, spoke broken English, and was teased for his accent and clothes. Once, during lunch, a boy grabbed Leo's tray and dumped it onto the floor. Leo stood frozen, face burning, eyes stinging. The cafeteria erupted in laughter. The teacher said, "It's okay," but that okay could not save the humiliation. That night, Leo told his father. His father did not hug him, did not comfort him. He said only one sentence. "Here, no one cares about the weak. You have to become good." From that moment, Leo learned one thing. Being good is armor. If you're not good, you get stepped on. He studied obsessively, trained relentlessly, joined every club that put his name on a list of achievers. And from a frightened child, Leo became a man who did not allow himself to lose. Mia met Leo in college. She liked him because he had goals, discipline, a sense of security. But after living together, Mia realized Leo didn't just have goals. Leo had power. He decided everything: where to buy a house, how to renovate the kitchen, which school their child would attend, where to go on weekends, where money was kept. When Mia offered suggestions, Leo said, "I've already thought it through. This way is better." When Mia got angry, Leo said, "Anger doesn't solve anything." When Mia felt sad, Leo said, "You're overthinking." Leo wasn't cruel. He simply lived by his head, not his heart. And his head feared one thing deeply: being wrong. Being wrong meant losing control. Being wrong meant being seen as inferior. Being wrong meant becoming that 12-year-old boy again, standing in a cafeteria. Evan loved filmmaking. He filmed short videos of Seattle: rain, trees, empty roads, yellow lights reflecting on water. He didn't film to become famous. He filmed because when holding the camera, he could breathe. One night, Evan said to his father, "Dad, I want to study film." Leo was checking work emails and replied instinctively, "Film has no future. Study business." "But I'm good at film." Leo closed the laptop and looked at him. "Being good isn't enough. You need a stable career. Do you want to suffer like artists?" Evan fell silent. Mia stood beside them and said softly, "The way you speak, he's hurt." Leo turned to her, "Don't spoil him." In that house, every conversation ended with Leo's version of right. But that night, Evan couldn't sleep. He went into the garage, sat in the car, turned on the camera, and filmed himself. He spoke quietly to the lens. "I don't hate Dad. I just can't breathe." One day, Leo came home early. He heard noises in the living room. He walked down and saw Evan cleaning the glass cabinet, cleaning it for a long time. Leo asked, "What are you doing?" "Cleaning dust," Evan replied. Leo looked at the shining trophies. "Good, clean it well." Evan looked up at him. "Dad, are you really happy?" Leo froze. He forced a smile. "Of course, I have everything." Evan continued, not avoiding his gaze. "Then why are you always tense?" That question was like a small stone thrown at glass. Leo snapped. "How dare you talk like that?" Evan lowered his head. "I was just asking." Leo went upstairs, but all night he couldn't sleep, because that question wasn't Evan's. It was the one he had been avoiding for years. At work, Leo was assigned a major project. If successful, he would be promoted. A young employee named Jared proposed a more efficient plan. Leo didn't like it, not because it was bad, but because it wasn't his. In the meeting, Leo rejected it. Jared tried to explain. Leo cut him off. "I'm responsible. We do it my way." The meeting ended in silence. 2 weeks later, the project ran into problems, exactly where Jared had warned. The loss wasn't huge, but enough for the boss to ask, "Why didn't you listen to the team?" Leo replied, "I considered it." But inside him, something burned. Not anger at the project, but anger that he had been wrong. And Leo did what he always did. He looked for someone to blame. He called Jared into his office and said coldly, "You lack teamwork." Jared stood still, then said one sentence, "I think you're more afraid of being wrong than of the company losing money." In the past, Leo would have fired him. That day, Leo did nothing. He just felt his throat go dry. Mia had endured for a long time, but some things endured too long become dangerous silence. One night, Mia placed an envelope on the table. Leo asked, "What's that?" "Separation papers," Mia said calmly. Leo laughed in disbelief. "What game are you playing?" "I'm not playing," Mia replied. "I'm tired." "Tired of what?" "I take care of this house, the child." "You take care of being right, not of us." Leo stood up. "That's unfair." Mia nodded. "I knew you'd say that, because in your life you've never allowed anyone to say you're wrong." Leo wanted to argue, but suddenly he heard Evan's bedroom door slam. A loud sound. Leo turned and saw Evan on the stairs, eyes red. "I don't want to live in this house anymore." Mia froze. Leo stood motionless. Evan continued, unloading everything. "Every day here, I feel like I'm your project. You don't listen, you just fix me." Then Evan walked out with a backpack. Mia ran after him. Leo stayed behind. In the living room, the glass cabinet reflected his image, a successful man, losing everything. That night, Leo drove to look for Evan, calling. No answer. Friends' houses, parks, bus stations. In his mind, one sentence repeated, "I have to pull my son back." But deeper than that was another fear. If Evan left, Leo would lose. At dawn, Mia called. "Evan's at a friend's house. He's safe. But he said he won't come back unless you change." Leo was silent. He wanted to say, "I will change." But he had never said that without conditions. The next morning, Leo took a day off work. He drove out of the city to a small Vietnamese meditation center. Seattle's sky was ash gray. In the yard, an elderly monk was sweeping leaves, slowly, unhurried. Leo watched and felt irritated, because that slowness prevented him from running. Leo asked, "Master, how do I make people listen to me?" The monk looked at him and asked back, "Do you want people to listen or to submit?" Leo froze. The monk said gently, "What burden are you carrying?" Leo forced a smile. "I carry nothing. I take care of my family. I plan for the future." The monk pointed to Leo's chest. "The burden is here." Leo flared up. "What do you know about me?" The monk remained calm. "I don't know you, but I recognize the eyes of someone exhausted by his own ego." Leo stiffened. The monk continued, "Letting go of ego is letting go of the burden. Your burden is the need to be right, to win, to never be criticized." Leo demanded, "If I let go of that, what do I have left?" The monk replied, "You still have your loved ones, if they haven't all left yet." The words fell like a stone. The monk asked Leo to stay for a while. No chanting, no preaching, just one task. Sit still. Leo lasted 5 minutes before irritation, 10 minutes before restlessness. 20 minutes before his mind exploded. Because in silence he heard everything he had avoided. Fear of being looked down on, fear of not being enough, fear of losing, and the loneliness of a 12-year-old boy. The monk asked, "Do you see your mind fighting itself?" Leo whispered, "I don't know." The monk nodded. "You don't know because you've always been running. Running so you don't hear yourself." Leo bowed his head. The monk continued, When the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. But you demand a peaceful world so your mind can be calm. That is not peace. That is control. Leo felt his throat burn. That night, Leo returned home. The house was empty. Mia hadn't returned. Evan was still away. Leo walked past the glass cabinet, looked at the trophies. For the first time, they felt meaningless. He opened the cabinet and picked one up, a high school basketball trophy. He remembered winning, the applause, and coming home to show it. His father said only, "Good. Do better next time." No hug, no pride, no eye contact. Leo stood still and suddenly understood he had spent his entire life winning, just to hear "good" one more time. He placed the trophy down, sat on the floor, and for the first time in his life, Leo cried. No one saw, but he cried like someone finally loosening a rope around his neck. The next day, Leo called Evan. "Can you come home so we can talk?" Evan hesitated, but agreed. Evan entered, avoiding the cabinet. Leo didn't delay. "I'm sorry." Evan froze. "Sorry for what?" Leo swallowed. "For not listening. For turning you into something that had to be right." Evan stared at him like a stranger. Leo continued, voice trembling. "I'm afraid of losing. Afraid of being looked down on. I thought holding my ego was strength, but I'm exhausted." Evan's eyes reddened. "Is that real?" Leo nodded. "I don't know how to make you believe me, but I will practice listening." Evan was silent for a long time, then said, "I don't need you to be perfect. I just need you to be present." It was exactly what Mia had once said. This time, Leo heard it. Mia came home. She looked at Leo and Evan and sensed something different. Leo said, "Mia, I'm sorry. I can't promise instant change, but I promise to try putting down this burden." Mia asked softly, "Can you really?" Leo replied, "I'm not sure, but I don't want to lose anything else." Mia cried. Not because apologies erase pain, but because for the first time, she saw this man standing on the same ground as her. Leo continued working, still faced pressure, but he practiced one small thing. Before reacting, he paused for one breath. He began asking Evan, "What do you want?" And when Evan answered, Leo practiced not correcting. He listened to Mia without immediately offering solutions. Some days he failed. Some days the old ego returned. But then he came back and apologized. Little by little, like someone learning to walk again after an accident. The house didn't change. Seattle still rained. Work was still stressful. Money still mattered. But the air inside felt lighter, because one man had put down part of the burden of needing to be right. Leo understood. When the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. Not because life becomes gentle, but because he no longer turns life into a battlefield. And letting go of ego is not weakness. It is the bravest thing. If you've listened this far and recognized yourself as someone who has, wanted to win every argument, wanted to be right in everything, protected pride at the cost of loved ones, controlled others out of fear, then perhaps you too are carrying an invisible glass cabinet. Tonight, try one small thing. In a conversation, don't try to be right. Just ask, "Are you okay?" And when they answer, listen to the end. If you want me to tell the next episode, darker, deeper, more dramatic, about another man in America with a heavier burden and a harder fall, leave the word "and" in the comments. So I know you're still listening.